Well, hello everyone, and thank you for joining me today. Today's video is another viewer requested video who asked, what is LTL, partial, and full truckload size and dimensions? Okay. So I promised to do this video for today. And so I thought we would kind of go over a breakdown of, the different shipping options based on size and weight. Okay. Before we jump into that, if you enjoy my content, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that you are notified when I do more of these videos. And if you're looking for any tools, services, resources, we've got links for everything down below. Okay. So I figured we'd start from the bottom with LTL, go on to partial, and then full truckload. So LTL, or less than truckload, okay, is what that stands for, is basically ideal for shipments that weigh more than 150 pounds, but less than 15,000 pounds. And there's typically no more than 10 pallets and no longer than 12 linear feet on the trailer. Okay. Cost is typically based on the shipment's classification or density and any other additional type fees. Okay. And those are miscellaneous fees. Whether it's hazmat, and again, depending upon what classification it comes in under, does it require lift gate? Is it residential delivery? Like there's, all of these types of different scenarios that can come into place with LTL. Okay. Next up is partial truckload, or PTL. Basically, this is a niche option that falls between LTL and full truckload. This is typically ideal for time-sensitive cargo that doesn't quite fill a full truck. Okay. And the size and weight range on that is typically 8 to 18 pallets and weighs between 8,000 pounds and 27,500 pounds. Okay. It shares a very similar service options with full truckload, but it isn't a full truck. So try to think of it as like half a truckload. Okay. And you'll run across a lot of that, throughout your career as a freight broker or a truck driver. And this can be a very beneficial option for your customers. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're smaller customers. I've had very large corporate customers, right, that have partial load options. And along with those partial loads, and even sometimes with the LTLs, is you might want to look into your straight truck options for those. Now, I will say that typically it will cost a little bit more for the straight truck option versus pairing that with a 53 or 48 foot trailer, right? Because basically you're dividing the cost of that shipment with another shipment that either the carrier already has or maybe that you have that you can pair with it that's going in the same direction. Okay. Whereas if you use a straight truck option, this is good if it's like expedited or something, and it needs to kind of get there fairly quick. Obviously, you can look at team options and that as well. But typically it will cost a little bit more because while a straight truck maybe doesn't use the fuel and have quite all the expenses, it's still going to be pretty close. And so they're going to demand a little bit more in of a rate than they would pairing that with another load on a full size trailer. Okay, so I hope that it sort of explains partial truckload. And moving on to full truckload. Now, I I use this as dry van because that's the most common equipment type, but there are going to be some variations to this, and I'll try to go over those. So basically, FTL, or full truckload, is used for shipments that weigh between 15,000 and 44,000 pounds, and normally up to about 26 pallets. Okay. The length of the shipment depends on the specific truck being used, typically 48 to 53 foot trailers. Okay. Now, it says 15 to 44,000. Don't automatically assume that just because you need a dry van that they can scale 44,000 pounds. There are some dry vans out there that can only scale, say, 41 or 42,000 pounds. It really depends upon their equipment setup. Okay. Normally, 43 is fine. You start hitting 44, sometimes even 45, that gets to be a bit more on the heavy side. Okay. Your refrigerated carriers, typically 42, 43,000, while your open deck, right, your flatbed, step deck, would be that 45 to 48,000 pound range. Okay. And there is obviously accessorials that can go along with that, whether that be driver assist, the temperature of the load, if it's a refrigerated load, because obviously the harder that refrigerated unit works, the more fuel it uses, and so if you're running, let's just say something at -10, the carrier's probably going to want a little bit more than they would if it was running at, say, 28 or 34. Okay. It's just something to be aware of. Also, with the open deck freight, does it require tarps? What size tarps? All of these things can be factors, and those again are as an example of an accessorial. I hope that explained. I answered the question for you well enough. Again, this was a viewer requested topic that I promised to do today. I appreciate everybody being here with me. I thank everybody for subscribing. It really means a lot to me. It really does. I enjoy doing these videos for everybody, and I hope to continue doing them. Again, we've got links for tools and resources down below. If there's something that you don't see down there that you need, by all means, feel free to reach out to me. I'll pop my email up again. And I've been getting a lot of DMs from Facebook in that for people needing assistance, trying to land their first customer. They're brand new into the industry. And so depending upon what that need is, whether I do some cold calling for you or kind of help mentor you and point you in the right direction, again, you can reach me at freightmasterresources@gmail.com. The response has been a little bit overwhelming. So I am trying to get everybody taken care of in order. Okay. We might have to actually kind of pause that for a little bit to kind of let me get caught up. That's one of the things that sometimes I hate about weekends, especially when I don't have anything going on, because I'd rather be working. And, I could have maybe been assisting some of you out there. But if, companies aren't open, if the transportation managers aren't in, there's only so much I can do. Right. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for joining me today. And we'll see you all back here again tomorrow. All right. Be kind of